Don't call it a comeback. We've been here for years. It's Parrish. It's Spencer. It's the P.O.S Show on Love Wrestling. It is the P.O.S Show on Love Wrestling live at Beercade YEG. Holy shit. It's happening.
Well,
we're back.
There it goes.
Things are normal. Nature is healing.
Guess we can have pyros now. You just swore.
No need for pyro, friend. The fireworks are going to be happening tonight, but we're going to kickstart them here for you. It's Spencer and
Sound
Parrish.
effects.
Thank you, friends, for joining us here live on Love Wrestling for the P.O.S Show, our first in nearly 16 months live from Beercade YEG. Parrish and I have gotten together a couple of times. Luckily enough, we were both able to get together for our last show, but finally, we are back at the home of Edmonton Professional Wrestling here on 105th Street and 82nd Avenue right here in Edmonton, Alberta. But wherever in the world you may be tuning in, thank you once again. We are here to preview a little bit of Money in the Bank for you, ladies and gentlemen. We do it a little bit later than most. We like to collect the analysis. We like to appear on other podcasts, as both you and I have, predicting Money in the Bank. But it's nice when you get to do a little bit of insight into your opponent. That is how you remain the Love Wrestling Elite Champion, or in Parrish's case, that's how you dig in and maybe find that winning edge to challenge for the belt. I'm looking to carry it into Vegas. I'm going to be heading to Summerslam myself, and Parrish is looking to represent again at the home of Edmonton Professional Wrestling. Parrish, before we head into SummerSlam, before we start talking about the championship that I won from you, and of course means that you previously won from me, I'm not going to ignore that one.
Thank me for it. Let's just call a spade here.
Fair point, man. I'm going to ask how you feel about Money in the Bank, but of course, I got to shout out our good friend, Ed. Good to see you, friend. It is POS time. And of course, Joe. Sorry, I'm stumbling over words. I'm excited as hell to be back home.
I mean,
man.
We finally have beer in front of us, and you're just going 100 shades of stumbleness.
I haven't even had a sip yet.
I know, and
We're not quite there.
The rails are already off.
As they tend to be here on Love Wrestling. My boys are here. A great quote for a top 2 Disney movie, and I don't even want to frickin' start this one here.
Cool Runnings. I'd pick Cool Runnings.
How are you feeling about the show? Obviously, the Money in the Bank matches are the highlights. It's a lot like when we're talking about the Royal Rumble. You're going to have matches you're most excited for when they're based around a stipulation. But maybe outside of the women's and men's Money in the Banks, what are you excited for? What are you looking forward to? Who are you maybe hoping shows up? Or give me your general thoughts.
Regardless of the fact that one of them's on the kickoff shows, we have 2 tag team title matches. And when was the last pay-per-view where you saw 2 tag team title matches on the same card? This is amazing. And like even yes, it's not the women's, but it's both the men's, and it's really interesting to see the Usos against both Mysterios. That's going to be a banger of a match.
Oh, yeah.
And then we got AJ Styles and Omos going up against the Viking Raiders. And this match, I feel, could actually have a potential to be a solid tag team match. I mean, we have not seen the Viking Raiders on a pay-per-view in a long time. We haven't even seen AJ and Styles and Omos defend those titles in a while. So it's actually just refreshing to finally see something new at a pay-per-view. And the faces in the Money in the Bank ladder matches are just, again, refreshing. About time. And it's nice that they absolutely made us care about, you know, maybe what would have been the long shots a couple years ago, like the Liv Morgans, the Big E's. It's not the Seth Rollins that are the favorites in this. It's not the Alexa Bliss, who, you know, might actually go over here. But, I mean, they're not necessarily the favorites. The underdogs are now the new favorites, and it's a new time. And hopefully WWE, you get this one right, because if you don't, your fans are going elsewhere, because now you have choices.
Yeah, man. But like, how often have you and I talked about Money in the Bank and professional wrestling as a whole? Like, the best part of it is the unpredictability. And I really feel like you alluded to that this Money in the Bank, more than ever, there is that unpredictability, whether it's in the MITB matches themselves or within the title matches. I think really for me, you know, we'll get into it obviously, but the Lashley match for me is the only one that I have real confidence in picking a winner. And the rest of them, you can really convince me either way. But like I said, we're going to dig into that. Good to see you, Throwback. Thank you for hopping in, friend. I know you were disappointed missing out on Sunday brunch. I'm disappointed missing out on Sunday brunch, but admittedly, there's only so many shows I can appear on before you get sick of me. Parish is a little more appealing in that end of things, but that is what it is.
That's only because you have alcohol. I mean, how many spades are we calling spades here?
JPJ hopping in. Good to see you, friend. Excited for the show. Excited for the pay-per-view. Just excited about wrestling. I think that's a sentiment that we can all speak to right now. But that's maybe something that we can talk about next week on a Sunday brunch or blowing off stream or any of the great stuff that we've got coming up. Ecto Guy 87, thanks for joining us. It is appreciated. And thank you for tuning in on Twitch. If you're there specifically, make sure to stick around for the whole show, because if we're not heading and tuning into Money in the Bank, we want to support great people. So if you're there, we're going to make sure that we're rating somebody great. And in the meantime, please feel free to subscribe, like, share, follow, whatever you can do on any of the platforms you may be on. It is always appreciated when you take the time, and especially when you've got a pay-per-view this fine day, on this day, maybe to allude to one of the other matches coming up. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Thanks for taking the time.
I'm dumb. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified.
That's going to be a clip, but I know it, and that's exactly what it was intended for.
Cody, good to see you, friend. Do you think we could see a cash-in before the end of the night? I think that's something we'll maybe speculate on in a minute. I'm thinking you and I
can we make that bonus points? If there's a cash-in and who it is, let's make bonus points.
That's a great point right there. Bonus points on when the cash-in happens.
Just on if there's one tonight. Okay. And if we get it right, I mean, come on. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, that's also an interesting thing, because I think both matches and both titles, like we've always talked about for the last year, how do you take the title off Roman Reigns? This could very well be a plausible option. I don't think it's a smart option, but it is a plausible one. Bobby Lashley, the exact same thing too. Like, you just don't know, like, especially when he's up against Kofi, and then we have Big E in the ladder match. I mean, this is very interesting. Like,
and I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. That's a great shout there. I think maybe we'll kick it off, because I was thinking we'll maybe split up the Money in the Bank ladder matches, kick one off, and with one, as I'm expecting them to do tonight. And yeah, great shout as well there.
I do have one question for you.
Yes.
I am against Money in the Bank ladder matches being the main event of this pay-per-view. What are your opinions on that? Simply because if you have a title match as your main event, you're just building that suspense, and I think I prefer that over an actual Money in the Bank.
Really great call, and I would have to assume that Ecto Guy's agreeing with you. First pay-per-view back live, definitely going to be a cash-in. Maybe that leads a little more to it, because I really hadn't thought, admittedly, Parish, of how it would sort of telegraph, you know, if, say, the men were to main event. Well, you can't really cash in tonight, so there is more likelihood on the women's side. But let's maybe kick it off with the women before we do so. But again, want to remind everybody to show some support to Beercade YEG. They've chosen to do so. We're coming out of a pandemic. It would have been pretty easy for them to say, no, thank you. We don't need to sponsor a show, but they chose to support us. So make sure that you guys continue to do so, whether it's today, whether it's in the next couple of weeks, or, of course, when they make their return to pay-per-view viewings. at SummerSlam. That'll be August 21st. It's going to be a Saturday night. You know that's going to be an absolutely great time. Plug out like we're having a great time, friends. Stud's doing studly things. I got a lot of love for you, except for the next few hours. I hope I whipped you.
I even got a haircut for the show.
I certainly didn't. I can tell you that. And I was a lot of time in front of the mirror that was all for naught. Let's kick it off with the women, Parrish. That sound good to you?
That's how I like it.
Sounds good. All right, up to you.
I don't want any more like secondary questions. That we'll just leave that one as it is.
I will give my guffaw and I will continue from there. But I am really excited about the women's Money in the Bank ladder match this year, even more than years past. I think that last year, even though it did end up being not really a Money in the Bank ladder match, for lack of a better way to put it, Asuka was a pretty clear favorite. And the year before, Bayley was a pretty clear favorite going into it. I think that this year there's definitely an emotional favorite, at least if the internet wrestling community is to be believed. But I don't think that there's a clear favorite to win it this year. Would you agree with me there? Am I wrong? I've been wrong before.
I think when you really think about Money in the Bank, anybody is there. When you've seen Damian Sandows of the world winning this match, the Jack Swaggers winning the match, whether it's Brock Lesnar coming out of nowhere and winning the match. Really, anybody has a shot to win this. Baron Corbin won. Dolph Ziggler won, and those are two guys that, well, they're two guys.
Those were two very different cash-ins, if we can.
But let's with the way they're perceived now, I mean, and as far as the women, I mean, they've had a shorter history. Go whether you want to talk about the Baileys, who again talking about cashing in on the same night, and I know Liv Morgan is that emotional underdog right now tonight. Yeah. Everybody wants to see her. We are absolutely. I can say, like, for both of us, we're absolutely ecstatic that she was embraced the way she was on Friday night on SmackDown. I do think right now, though, you don't pull the trigger on her. And as much as people are like, why not? It's a slow build still with Liv Morgan. She stands to benefit, in my opinion, with an earned title match. More so maybe like a Royal Rumble win. Something like that where you can tell she really earned it. Like, give her that Kofi Mania moment or something.
Yes and
because
no.
I don't think a gimmick is going to actually catapult her to the next level as well as it can, in my opinion, for somebody who has a gimmick like an Alexa Bliss. I just personally don't think that you take away that underdog story with a gimmick. I think that's a mistake in proper storytelling.
I've got time for the argument because I do think the Money in the Bank briefcase is far better suited for a heel role. And when you've got someone like Liv Morgan, who is pretty universally beloved, there aren't many people you'll find right now that dislike her, whether personally or professionally. And if they do, they're wrong. Let's just cut to the chase there. With Liv Morgan, I think it would be tough, but I also do think that she's one of those rare baby faces that could pull off that will they or won't they? You know what I mean? She could carry it well, and I think that the thing that I like most about Liv Morgan potentially winning it is she could have a long run with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and I do think that that's something that's been sorely missing, especially on the women's side in the last little bit. The men's have been odd, and I admittedly don't like the predetermined cash-ins, and you've had them with Brock and Braun 2 years in a row. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but at the same time, one of the things I've loved most about the Money in the Bank briefcase is the element of surprise. The women have delivered on that 2 years in a row, but they've been very immediate. What I want to see is something like you saw with Carmella 3 years ago by this point, where she carried it up until the night after WrestleMania. Fair shout. You dick, well played. I'd love to see that long run. I think that Carmella really did a great job of, obviously on the heel side versus what Liv Morgan would do, but playing that conniving heel, making herself that constant threat. Every pay-per-view was there was the threat she'd cash in. Every couple of weeks on TV, they would do the backstage interview with her, and that's been a missed opportunity through the last few Money in the Bank winners on either gender's side, or either of the two genders' side. Is Sasha in the Rumble? She will win the Rumble, have Liv win at Survivor Series, and build her up at Mania for a title. I admit now we're going to look like real old men when we go to read these comments. This was a lot easier when it was just on Zoom. We'll figure something out.
Well, I mean, I can kind of slightly. I mean, you can enhance the screen. That's an option that you do have. But I mean, with that being said, I mean, we got to also look at the current champions and see, okay, what's the most likeliest scenario of how they were to drop them? Because we look at Rhea Ripley being on the Raw side.
Yep.
She's not really perceived as a heel. She's not really perceived as a baby face. She's just perceived as basically the mirror image of Charlotte Flair right now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just maybe more of a dark kind of presentation. But then we have Bianca Belair, and I really do believe that Bianca Belair has heel all over her that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Oh, and like,
you know what? I'm always like, my initial reaction is to say no.
This
but like,
is my
how
thing.
many
If
great
Nation of the
baby faces have
Domination could have had a really nice, like, if they could have had a China, it's Bianca Belair. That was always my thing. But like, to me, I can see an edge out of Bianca, even though right now she is riding this monster wave as being one of the most lovable and just I want to cheer for her stories. The thing is, you put her against Liv Morgan, now the fans are going to choose which one they want to cheer for, which one they want to boo. So I don't think you'll get Liv versus Bianca. I don't think that's proper. You're going to do one that is service if you put them against each other right away.
So I guess the question I pose to you then is, do you think, because I'm just going to come right out and say, like, my pick is Liv Morgan.
Yeah.
I think she's going to win it. I've got a lot of time. My dark horse on it would be Zelina Vega. You see a lot of people who either sign new contracts with WWE or come out of nowhere and re-sign with WWE. They get that push right off the bat. So she'd be my dark horse, and I think there'd be a great story.
Many times already.
Exactly.
And to me, I come down to Zelina Vega and Tamina.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say Tamina,
yeah,
because I can see down the road a tag team forming of Beth Phoenix and Natalya, leaving Tamina to be as a singles person.
So is that the pick you're going to throw in?
I'm going to go with Zelina Vega because I know
Cool.
in the women's they do something a tad different. And I like the swerves they tend to do with the women more so than the men, just because with the women they seem to be more unsure on who's going to be a star 6 months from now, whereas the men it's more decisive.
They're a lot more tentative with their booking. Yeah, that's a good call.
But I'm also going to say Zelina Vega would be the one who can carry that briefcase. Briefcase. I'm drinking. But she's the one who can carry that briefcase.
Is a briefcase like a small cake?
It's the difference between a briefcase and a barber. So yeah.
Get out.
If I'm going down that hole, I got to bring a shovel and I got to be able to get out. But with that being said, like she's the one who has the promo skills on how to make holding that briefcase for a year still relevant, and I think that's the big thing. So I'm going to go with Zelina Vega on here. She's a dark horse.
All right.
But I think there's a reason why she's back. Tamina, I think it's more nostalgic and more of a thank you.
Now, just for that bonus point, do either of us think there will be a cash in tonight? I'm going no. At least on the women's side, I'm going to go no for now.
You know what? I'm not going to go with one, but I can't see Zelina. Like that's the hard one because I do see out of anybody cashing it right on Bianca, Zelina Vega would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But no, I'm going to go with no.
Absolutely. A couple of comments before we move on to the next match. And friends, please feel free to keep throwing them in there. Pluggo hopping in. Liv wins or we riot. Well played. I like what you did there. Pluggo, nicely done.
That gets a release for me.
Cody hopping in. I think Liv or Alexa, but Nikki is my dark horse. I got a lot of love for Nikki Cross, or Nikki Ash, excuse me. I think that, and the reason I didn't pick Alexa Bliss as the winner is I think they're going to go into a feud with each other. It's definitely different than the way I think anyone would have predicted that we would get.
Would you think the Fiend costs Alexa Bliss the Money in the Bank?
No.
I mean, we talk about surprises. We haven't seen the Fiend since WrestleMania.
I think that'll be a SummerSlam thing. I think maybe you see the Fiend align with Nikki Ash, but that's something else we're going to talk about later.
You got to get there first.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. Goose, good to see you. I enjoyed your stream earlier with the staff and students of the AWA. Of course, if you guys want to find out more about the Alberta Wrestling Academy, I would encourage you to do so. There's lots of great training opportunities in Alberta, and they are certainly one of them. Feel free to check them out. Goose, if you want to throw their social media handles in here, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
Would the bot reject it, though?
No, social media handles, I think you're okay. Don't throw the link in there, otherwise old Nightbot's going to get on their high horse. Pluggo hopping back in. Parrish is just trying to keep the belt on Spencer's shoulder. It's a championship, number one. And I did see your comment, the new P.O.S Show drinking game. Drink every time Spencer says, I've got time for. Okay? That can be a more...
Yeah, but then I don't have time for waiting for a beer, so I need to actually have one. So.
Fair call.
I'm going to have the doggy paddle of baby sips tonight.
I believe Lily's been MIA since that whole Shayna Baszler.
Oh, she is just a stupid
evening
doll.
Thing. I've not been a fan, and this is the only mention they're going to get on this show. Long time no see to you as well, Andre. Thank you for tuning in, my friend. Is Parrish getting every prediction right as usual? That isn't as usual, I will say.
Last year's Money in the Bank, I did hit a perfect 100.
That's true. But unfortunately, at the last pay-per-view, I hit the perfect 100, making me your Love Wrestling Elite Champion. Now, that's what we're fighting for. We've both got our picks in for the women's Money in the
like little
winner. Which match do you want to tackle off next? I know you're excited for the two tag team matches. Do you want to go with...
well, we know the one kickoff one is the Mysterios against Usos, so we might as well do that one. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why this is on the kickoff show. If anything, I would have put the other one. And it's hard because I don't ever want to put AJ Styles on a kickoff, but it's the Usos. They're, if
tag team royalty.
Other than the New Day, they're the most decorated tag champs in WWE right now, and probably in the last decade with that company. Then you have the only father and son tag team, and you're giving them a pre-show. And Rey Mysterio is probably the greatest luchador ever in wrestling, and is, in my opinion, a Hall of Famer, like unanimously. So I just don't understand this aspect, but at the same time, I don't see how you don't put the titles on the Usos now that they're aligned with Roman Reigns. But at the same time, why do you take them off the Mysterios? Like, this is not a... I don't like this decision right now to make this match right now.
No, I'm real excited for the match. Don't get me wrong there, but like it does seem odd. The only thing that I can see it being is I'm gonna call the Mysterios to win. I don't think there's any sense in switching those championships on a pre-show match. It's just it is odd to me to be making that pick knowing that the Usos shouldn't be losing. Same sort of way that you, right? Like it's
yes, I also shouldn't be losing.
True. The only way that I can justify it is if it is used for some Roman Reigns, not heel turn, but cause him to turn on the Usos sooner rather than later. But I can't see, like, the only alternative, anytime that they break up a tag team, I can only see it as like the impetus for a storyline development. Like, I don't see this feud going any further. I'm calling the Mysterios. That's all I can say. I'm just going to end up rambling as I tend to do.
I always get them wrong. Like, a kickoff match is wrong. So just for that purpose, I'm going to also go with the Mysterio. So if I'm wrong, you're also wrong. And it's only
so in it.
I don't want. I got to play this one smart.
Price is right at me.
I did. Yeah. $1.
Tom, good to see. Oh wow, a couple of comments hopping in there. Throwback. I'll get back to you. Sorry, buddy. But Tom, good to see you. Fancy new setup. Yes, fancy new setup here at Beercade YEG. Finally feeling comfortable. Finally legally able to. Finally double vaxxed. Finally good to go from the home of Edmonton Professional Wrestling. They've sponsored us for years, whether it's with the WCSN or, of course, with Love Wrestling. It's nice to be able to come back and support them the same way that they've been able to support not only us, but a number of independent individuals out here in Alberta. Andres, so how is Beercade's new menu, or the most important thing, the drinks? Well, this Alexander Keith's is absolutely fantastic. I am quite enjoying it, as I did pre-pandemic. We can't speak. They let us in early. Beercade was kind, so new menu items and all of that sort of stuff, they open back up at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. That is when we can update you on the food
I'm sure it's delicious.
Sorry, Tom distracted me with this comment. We can
It's
update
always
you on
been
the food
delicious food. Here.
When the APA turn up and pick a fight, will they turn over will they show up and pick a fight over the pool table? I don't know. Probably we'd get our asses kicked there. To be honest with you, like I don't have a lot of time for JBL, but I say that fully with the knowing that guy can kick my ass.
Want to know a good story about JBL? So during a good cauliflower alley club, both Maniac and I were once guilty of stealing JBL's drinks that fans were buying for him because he was too busy talking to one Bambi Hall, who was trying to pick his brains, and he was not paying attention to the drinks that were behind him. We were, and they were delicious.
Good. If there's anybody who deserves his drink stolen,
He was
it's
actually
John.
a really nice guy.
John Bradshaw. I want to go to the bar and have a beer and watch the game. God, like even as a guy who missed the same things, I look at that and I get frustrated. But we'll go from there. Cody hopping in. Usos lose, Roman retains, or Usos win, and Roman gets money in the bank. I don't think we'll see the family with all the gold.
I don't think
we do yet. I see
yet.
it. I do think we see it eventually. I think that the Usos will eventually gain those tag team championships. And for me, there is no way. Like, I got Roman carrying the championship until Mania in Hollywood. I don't think he loses it at any point until then.
I think he won't be champion that long. I don't think anybody in the planet Earth has patience for that anymore. But
I disagree. Respectfully,
but I do
of course.
He'll get it. Like he'll lose it and get it back. At some point, like man, that's a long time. That's a year and a half.
But you know, he's never had a long championship reign. He really hasn't, and through really unfortunate circumstances. Obviously, like I can't speak to what plans were. All I can speak to is the fact that like that guy has not had a long championship reign.
To be fair, he's never been on a roll like he's been on right now.
And that's
either.
Completely fair too.
When you're good, you get those big long
Very
reigns.
fair. Tom hopping back in. I think SummerSlam ends with a family of gold, a cornucopia of gold.
Let go. It's kind of my thing.
Bless you, keeper.
That
movie gives me the willies, to be honest with you. And I haven't said that in years. It sort of speaks to it. Do we want to tackle off the other tag team championship match?
Yes,
because I don't have.
Let's stop talking about your willies and start talking about the other tag team title match.
Grow up. This is a show for adults where we have respectable discussions.
You're the one who brought up the willies.
The art of professional wrestling. The AJ Styles Omos versus Viking Raiders match. Yes. Viking Experience, War Raiders.
I would love to see new champions for the sole purpose of I don't like seeing tag teams not having championships and singles competitors do. However, there is no reason to change them right now. There is absolutely no reason. Like, you're not going to do it. You're not doing anything right now with AJ Styles. As long as you at least tease a potential split and not do it, but tease some sort of dysfunction between Omos and AJ, but they're still getting on the same page.
I got a hot take.
Like, give me something to divulge into, because right now, why do I care about these tag team titles? And why do I care about Omos and AJ Styles being the champions?
So you don't, and that's the thing, and that's why I think that not only you're gonna see, and here's a teaser for the next POS show. Not only going to see the Viking Raiders walk away as your new Raw Tag Team Champions after tonight, but you're going to see AJ Styles versus Omos at SummerSlam this year. I think you're going to see it, and I think Omos goes over clean over AJ Styles.
Oh, that one, yeah. No, I
think
that
that's
especially when AJ Styles
there's the
openly said, "I'm here to put over new talent."
Well, good. Then it makes it a very good prediction on my end. It makes it a hypothesis. It's not just a prediction; it's an educated guess. I learned that from my girlfriend, who is much smarter in the ways of science than I.
I'll go with a spoiler. I'll also go new tag team champion.
You dick! Oh my God, I hate everything about you. It's like that 2006 3 Days Grace song. I hate everything about
Show,
you.
which is the All-American Steve Rivers theme song.
All right, fair shout. I got all the time in the world for Steve Rivers. I'm not even gonna. No,
he once arrested Andre Corbeil at a wrestling show. It's fantastic.
I have that story actually on a podcast that I think I might just release because, well, it's funny. It's a really funny story. Wrestling cop.
It's quacktastic.
Shampoo is better. Just like I hope this Rhea Ripley and Charlotte match is better than their previous encounter was. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a much different result. And I should qualify that, like, by no means have either of their two matches, I think it's only been the two, but their two matches been poor by any means. I really have not enjoyed the finish to either of them. I thought Rhea Ripley should have won when she came up at WrestleMania 36 for that cup of coffee, and I thought she should have won at Hell in a Cell. Now, that being said, because she didn't win at Hell in a Cell or disqualified herself, I guess is the most accurate way to put it, I think we're going to get something very similarly themed at this show, Parrish, but I'm going to get your thoughts before I dive into my prediction.
I think this feud has been terribly booked.
Yeah? I won't argue with there at all.
It's one of those where it's, okay, you have two amazing, phenomenal, giant women wrestlers going over the top prize on Raw. And for whatever reason, you think that there's a bad leg to stand on and you need crutches to help them get over. And like the mind games are one thing. But if they can't sell a bad leg, it's not going to go anywhere. And I don't buy the crutch thing. It came out of nowhere. They made no sense.
I think that's just part of the whole, like...
They don't need it.
No, I think it's all just part of, like, the student and teacher thing that they're trying to do. I think it was just a really bad part of it.
Sure, but
I didn't like it at all either.
presentation, in my opinion. And I just think there's a different and a better way that they should have gone about it.
Oh, yeah, man. They're like you said, they're two of the most talented female professionals.
I mean, you guys remember Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle did the same thing? Yeah, they kind of did it pretty good there, and they kept it very simple and very effective.
Both of them sold neck injuries following WrestleMania, too.
Well, they were also kind of legit, though.
I know, but come on. Like, I had to throw that one if we're going to be running the injury angle to all of this.
One won
Come on, man. Sell for me. I thought that was pretty good.
Broke his neck at WrestleMania, or almost.
That's one of those things that I always wonder, just to sidetrack here, because I've got to get my obligatory Brock Lesnar discussion in on any show I'm ever on anywhere at any point.
Which, by the way, they're saying he will not be a Money in the Bank today.
Which is disappointing, but that maybe means he's at SummerSlam. But we're getting Goldberg and Bobby Lashley. Friggin' what a terrible waste of my time. What a terrible waste of my time.
Anyway, Brock Lesnar.
So Brock Lesnar. Imagine if he'd hit that shooting star press. Like, imagine if we had a 42-year-old Brock Lesnar right now that was comfortable hitting a shooting star press. Because I got no doubt if he was hitting it then, he's still hitting it now and just blowing our minds even more than he already is. I'm going to get back to the topic at hand here, though. Thank you guys for tuning in to Money in the Bank. And, of course, Brock Lesnar talk here on Love Wrestling. Kevin, good to see you, friend. Big E wins Money in the Bank, cashes in for a WWE championship, and changes brands. I don't know if I see the champions changing brands again. And it's going to sound like a very petty way to do it.
No, he's talking about Big E goes from SmackDown to Raw.
No, but like if he before he cashes in?
Yeah, so when he cashes in, he's changing brands on the cash.
Okay, that I could see then. I'd feel a lot more confident with that if I was going to predict Kofi Kingston to win, to be honest with you. But just spoiler, I'm not going to do that. Tom, however, answering pretty well exactly how I was going to answer here with Charlotte and Rhea before we continue to get to the rest of the comments here. I think we're going to another DQ finish, and I think that Charlotte's going to get herself DQ'd. So I'm calling Rhea Ripley wins by DQ. She continues with the championship because, like Tom's saying, the fact that this isn't a no DQ match, I think we're heading towards something like that, or a last woman standing match, a cage match. I think it'd be real cool. We haven't seen one of those at SummerSlam in years. I think there's a lot more to this feud because there's been so little to this feud in the nicest way possible to it so far. Calling Rhea via DQ. And Parrish will get your thoughts, and then we'll get back to the comments.
I really don't hate that because it does go that way. Part of me just doesn't understand why we need to do this match again and go that way. Why, like, it just, to me, you're just prolonging pain, in my opinion, because I don't like the story at all. I think this is just a bad story, and these both towns should not really need to. I mean, no, just something different. This is where a good cash-in, I think, could happen, is on this match, to be honest. But, I do have Rhea retaining the title. either a quick pin or maybe she just gets counted out on purpose.
Okay.
Just to kind of one up, because she tried to one up.
So then, are you calling Charlotte Flair by, I guess, Rhea Ripley losing via count out, or?
Well, I'm saying Rhea Ripley retains the title.
But so did I.
Yeah.
I also Rhea...
let's go with a quick pin, just because I don't see the idea of it. But maybe she gets away with something, because we did see, and I think this is a little telling. And we did see the episode of Raw where she did one up her on like the crutch battle. And like we're seeing progression out of the Rhea Ripley character in terms of like how she acts and things. I think she might get a one-up on Charlotte, but I don't think it's definitive to where it ends it.
Okay, fair call. And friends, if you've got predictions like a few of you guys do in there, feel free to throw them our way. We're happy to. We're admittedly struggling our old man ways through the old comment section here. I should only speak for myself, admittedly, on that end. Cody Hoppinen. That Hell in a Cell DQ was one of the worst match finishes in modern history. Rhea goes over clean tonight, finally. I like your opinion. However, I respectfully will disagree with it. Throwback throwing in, they're not going to give the title to Charlotte unless it's a break glass situation. In that case, WWE might not see it. Also, again, Becky returns to give Raw a high-end talent.
That's actually was one thing I wanted to bring up. It is reported that she is backstage at Money in the Bank tonight. It would make a lot of sense if by chance the plan was to insert her back into a title picture with a title that she honestly never lost. She handed over. I don't understand why you wouldn't give the crowd a good return. This seems like this could make a lot of sense. Becky Lynch returning in some faucet. I just don't think she'll be on Raw, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's in this scenario.
I am firmly of the belief.
She's never been one to take something away from Charlotte before.
But I think you made a great point, Parrish, because it's one I agree with. I'm firmly of the belief that this feud, and just a fantasy book here for a sec, this Charlotte-Rhea feud is going to end with, obviously, Rhea carrying the Raw Women's Championship. I think that Charlotte and Sasha are going to switch brands. Sasha's going to be Rhea's challenger heading into the Royal Rumble. Rhea's going to retain. Bianca's going to retain.
Do you think Sasha takes Bayley's place now with Bayley being out? In terms of switching brands, because I would have saw Charlotte.
Oh yeah, that's my thought. I think
yeah.
Bianca's going to win pretty definitively at SummerSlam, but I think Becky's winning the Royal Rumble this year. I think you need to hold out for it. Yeah, the next Royal Rumble.
Yeah, there you go.
I think there's too much meat on that bone. I really do. And bringing Becky back for something like this would be fantastic, but I also think that like she's something you close a pay-per-view out with. You need to bring her back.
Depending on what other surprises you have. Yeah,
I don't think there's a bigger one right now than Becky Lynch.
Well, I mean, there is a bigger one. We just know it'll never happen.
Bruno Sammartino.
The guy that made Money in the Bank kind of famous. It's
Jericho?
Punk. It's always Punk. Punk is always going to own Money in the Bank.
True, but I don't know. I think there's more stock right now in a Becky return.
And 10 years.
Let's hold on to this.
Oh, no, 100%.
I like this talk. I really like this talk. Ed Hoppinen, Raw Women's Division needs a draft because there's too much top-loaded talent that doesn't have the best chemistry. That's also a great chat maybe for us to have this Sunday. And then Ecto Guy hopping back in. Vega attacks Liv before the match. Becky gets put into Money in the Bank, wins it, cashes in. Wouldn't be opposed to it. Personally, not what I am going to predict for the show, however. However, feel free to throw your comments, questions, concerns. Hopefully there aren't many of the last variety of them, but that's what we're here for. Cody Hoppinen, that's pretty bold. Spencer, you have now predicted the reigns at Rhea and Bianca All-State Champs for 6+ more months. I put a lot of stock into length of title reign versus amount of title reign, or amounts, of title reigns. And I think that all three of these champions have that potential. I think the women are blessed with the fact that there is the 4 horsewomen storyline that can be tied in. Both Bianca and Rhea have sort of began this, I guess, trek to beat all 4 of them, for lack of a better way to put it. Bianca's beat Bayley. Bianca's beat Sasha. I think that Bianca going through Charlotte next would be very, very cool. And then moving on to Bayley at the end of the Royal Rumble, or Becky, after Royal Rumble season would be absolutely fantastic. Anthony, great to see you, friend, and appreciate you hopping in. I predict Roman comes out and Paul Heyman joins him. That's my prediction tonight. I don't know, man. That's hot. I don't know. Heyman with Reigns. Thoughts?
Yeah, and Dominic will be with Ray.
I don't know if I've got time for all of this sort of stuff.
Well, I mean,
I personally see Lynch returning during or after SummerSlam. Rhea Banks and League feuds heading into Survivor Series, and I don't see many other people being ready for that spot. I agree, but maybe that's where this match comes into effect. I think Money in the Bank's really got that star-making potential with it this year. There were a lot of not underappreciated talents, but individuals that perhaps could use a great match to take that next step.
No, before we get ahead of ourselves and we kind of surpass this whole thing with the women, because this does finalize all the female matches on the card tonight. Do we see either Becky Lynch or a Sonya Deville play a bigger part in either one of these matches tonight?
I think Sonya. I don't know. I'm sticking by Becky won't be back tonight.
I have a feeling we might see Sonya Deville and Selena Vega pair up. Think about it.
I got time there.
Marinate it.
Got lots of time there.
Flamboyant. Yeah, flamboyant.
I think it's flambe.
I'm flamboyant.
All right, we'll take that. Take that to the bank, my friend.
Flambang. Is it flambang or
flambade?
Or is it flamboyant?
Flambade. I'm not sure. It's like, did you know it is octopuses, not octopi? But we'll get past that. We've already chatted about the tag team championship matches. As you mentioned, we've got the women's matches on the card out of the way, leaving our two heavyweight championship matches and, of course, the men's Money in the Bank. Parrish, I'll let you take the lead here. Where do we want to go next?
I think we go Bobby Lashley, Kofi Kingston. I think this is
quick and easy. Love it.
Out of the three, this is the least match that could main event the show, in my opinion.
The only way that I think that this could go Kofi's way, and again, I know it's me bringing up Brock Lesnar, but like the rumors out there that Goldberg is going to return for this match at SummerSlam really deflated a lot of this match for me, admittedly. Not that I'm not excited about the two individuals that are a part of it. I've actually really, really loved the feud. I really... Like, there's no story for Kofi versus Goldberg.
I do have a scenario for you that may persuade you into why Goldberg, Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam makes sense.
Oh, I've got time for that. I've got no issue there. I specifically mean that it deflated me for Kofi versus Bobby because it telegraphs a result for me.
Yeah, and
that's more where I'm with it. I got no issue, as Big E so aptly put it, two big meaty men slapping meat. Got no issue with that. No issue. All the time in the world for that. Pluggo, if you're still in the chat, take a drink. But Kofi versus Goldberg, I really don't see anything there. And I would be very, very scared it would turn into a Brock-Kofi situation. Now, if Brock was to have returned and that was to be the match for SummerSlam, there's a lot of time in a 10, 15-minute Kofi Kingston versus Brock Lesnar match.
Well,
that's not going to happen.
It's just as simple as this. We like Brock Lesnar. We don't give a flying spear about Goldberg.
Huh. All right.
Yeah, I'm choosing not to curse.
I appreciate that. It leaves one more for me down the road here. I think that's fair. Are we both going Bobby on this one? We can pass this one quick.
Yeah, I think that if by chance this could be the most cash-in worthy match of the night.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will. I actually don't even think we will get a cash-in tonight.
No, I don't think so either.
I think the cash-ins are really better suited for the fans moving forward. I don't think you proverbially blow your load tonight.
Throwback hopping in. Do you see Kofi winning, Lashley losing, having Goldberg show up, has his music hit, Trouble in Paradise for the win? Lashley could say, Goldberg, you're next, or something along those sorts of lines. I think it's a solid piece of fantasy booking, and by no means do I mean that in a bad way, Throwback, but I don't see it happening.
I truly believe Lashley will pick the fight with Goldberg tomorrow night on Raw because we saw him getting a little bit more aggressive last week.
Goldberg's going to do the same damn thing Goldberg's done for the last few years. Goldberg's going to walk out during Bobby Lashley's championship celebration or some shit like that and say, hey, Lashley, you're next, or we're going to get Goldberg announced, and he's going to come out and cut a promo that he forgets half the words. You know what? I got a lot of time for Big Bad Bill. I'm going to get real with you, but like, let's not expect anything different. If we're expecting anything different, Parrish, with Big Bad Bill Goldberg, we are bound to be disappointed. That guy's not going to come out and cut a friggin' eloquent promo, and he's not going to come out here and tope in the next match he takes part in. Let's just like call Bill what he is. Bill is Lucky Charms. That ain't changing. It's a solid breakfast if you know what you're getting into, and if you want anything outside of just sugar for a few minutes, don't expect anything.
He's more like the American Corn Pops. He's a cheap imitation of the Canadian Corn Pops, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right, that's
boom. I out-serialed you analogy.
I wasn't even. I like that though. This is why we do well.
Corn Pops.
Also, where are we, Dan? We are at Beercade YEG, the home of Edmonton professional wrestling. Yes, that is what I am going to continue to say, will always say, and then now forever will mention that Beercade is the home of Edmonton Pro Wrestling. Why? Because they show each and every WWE pay-per-view, starting with the next pay-per-view coming up. Summerslam will be airing here Saturday, August
21st.
August 21st. Yeah, sorry.
You're welcome.
I started to correct myself as we both
Because you're
were.
not in the country, so you're already in
True,
Vegas.
I'm going to be gone. That might be the next
You're just
pay-per-view
like,
I'm in. I'm already in vacation
shiny
mode on the
things.
live streams. That's verbatim
You're
me
going
while I'm in
full
Vegas.
Seattle
August
Kraken on us
21st.
right now.
August 21st, nearly 1 month from today, they will be back here showing pay-per-views for each and every WWE pay-per-view. Hopefully all Elite Wrestling in the near future, but support them. They have supported us throughout the pandemic, as Sean Connery would say.
Well, it's also appropriate because there were bras hanging over the lights not too long ago. So
Yeah,
the
it's a
support
part of-
is all over the place.
Nicely done. This is why we're a high drawing show. This is why we bring in the
And
eyes,
I was
as they
done my
say.
first cup. I would like a second.
Don't worry, we got a commercial break here coming up sooner rather than later. Maybe we'll take that before the Reigns match. Lawrence hopping in. I don't care about Goldberg challenging for a title in 2021. I didn't care about Goldberg challenging for a title in 2016. But that WrestleMania 33 match was absolutely insane. So I've got all the time in the world for that. 2017.
I would love to see, just for one stupid reason, this is the only time I'm going to actually say I'd love to see Goldberg as champion. That's only if Gilbert becomes the 24/7 champion and they have a reunion and then they try to form a tag team. I don't know why, but it's so bad that it's funny, and I think WWE and Vince McMahon would do it.
Absolutely. Shopping it. Goldberg versus Lashley sounds like either awful or above expectations and automatically considered a complete banger. Yeah, I stand by my comment backing the Brinks truck in Brock's backyard. There are a lot of B's in that sentence. I think I did okay with it, but I hope so. You guys all know me. I'm a
There was
Brock Lesnar
no
baller.
Barbara Bush reference, and I'm very disappointed.
Agree. You know the deal. The Fiend is coming back to prevent Alexa Bliss from winning the briefcase. That was something you alluded to earlier. Looks like you got a fan on your predictions. Hopefully,
Let's go back in time where I predicted that already.
I've still got a few here in the comment section on my end. We're hoping. However, let's chat about the Money in the Bank championship match or briefcase match. We'll take a quick break. I can run everybody through what they can expect here on Love Wrestling next week. You can grab us a couple more Frosty Cool ones, and then we'll run into Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Edge. However, before we get there, let's challenge each other to predict the better man in tonight's ladder match. Struggled through that one, but I recovered well, too. Ricochet, John Morrison, Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Kevin Owens, King Nakamura, and Seth Rollins, the 8 individuals vying for the Money in the Bank briefcase.
I would love WWE to shock me in this match.
Don't make me feel better.
Please, go have me look one way and completely B-slap me the other way. That would be amazing, because I would love to see you actually pull the trigger on a Ricochet. I would love to see you finally pull the trigger to a Matt Riddle. I would love to see you give John Morrison the chance that he has absolutely deserved for over a decade.
Yeah. Morrison's going to tear it up.
I would
let's just get
love
real here. He's going to absolutely tear it up.
Even though I know the favorite here is Big E, and nobody's going to complain about that because this guy also deserves it. Check out his 24. It's absolutely amazing.
I'm not picking Big E.
No, I'm just saying from the betting odds. He's the favorite.
You looked up the betting odds. You're a little more prepared for this than I am.
I always look up the betting odds because I haven't watched the product in a month. But also, like,
I think we're going in with even. I think this is 50-50 then.
But if Shinsuke Nakamura won, think about this. Anybody who's criticized his use, he would be a Royal Rumble and Money in the Bank winner on the main roster, and he's a king now. So, I mean, there's that. Also, Boogs playing his theme song, The Money in the Bank, with Pat McAfee going whatever Pat McAfee is going to right now. Amazing.
Quick moment of silence for Boogs, just for being the man.
But, I mean, Becky Lynch is the man.
Continue.
He's just a wicked guitar player.
Oh, he's a lot of great things.
But at the same time, Kevin Owens is in this match. Seth Rollins is in this match. Like, these guys also I'd have time for if they won. But with that being said, this is how you make a new star, is the Money in the Bank. And the top four, I said, Ricochet, Morrison, Big E, and Matt Riddle. Like, these guys, pull the trigger on one of these guys, please. If you do that, I'm happy. But this match is going to absolutely kill it. And thank you, John Morrison, for doing the POA on Monday Night Raw. That did not go unnoticed.
Okay, Morrison for me is like, I don't think breakout performance is the right way to put it for a guy who's consistently been one of the world's best wrestlers for, like you said, a decade plus.
He's a Dolph Ziggler that we still care about.
I'm going to run up for Dolph. I will not engage in the Dolph slander.
No, but you know what I mean.
I understand what you mean. I'm going to stand up for old Dolph Ziggler here.
Oh, Ziggies.
I got so much time for John Morrison. I think the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks that he's been feuding with Ricochet have really brought a lot of people back to, oh, this guy's a great wrestler, not, oh, this guy is a great entertainer. Because let's get real, like, maybe I am a little biased on this end, but I've had a lot of time for his run with The Miz. I don't have an issue with it. The thing that I have had an issue with is, and I use issue, I should use my air quotes there, is that guy for me is like, he's a textbook IC champion or US champion. I got a lot of time for him. So I think this is going to be another match for him, like the triple threat ladder match at Mania 36, like the IC title match he had with Zayn and Jeff Hardy. Yeah. This is going to be another absolute burner for him, and I hope it continues. My pick, though, and I would love if Big E, I don't think prove me wrong is the wrong way to put it, or the right way to put it. I just don't think it's going to be him. I think that he is one of those individuals that, like, in the worst possible way, that's where I'm at, is he's maybe in the nicest possible way bigger than a Money in the Bank win. I think that a Rumble win is big for him.
There's actually only one babyface in here where a Money in the Bank actually suits him, and that's Kevin Owens.
Yep, I agree.
And, like, he's the only babyface here where, that makes sense.
I agree, and Cody hopping in as well. Would love to see Big E win the briefcase, but if Big E wins, I want the cash in tonight, either to take the title from Lashley after Lashley beats Kofi, or to take the title from Roman or Edge if Kofi wins. It'd be crazy to see the New Day celebrating the first show with the return of fans with both top titles. But it's a pipe dream, and in the nicest way, Cody, because pipe dream always sounds real rude. I think it's a pipe dream because I think, like we've talked about with Big E with the Royal Rumble win, I've thought that for a bit. I think we're setting up for the New Day triple threat at WrestleMania. I don't think there needs to be a title.
Can I give you a scenario that I want to get people's perception on and just opinions on? Big E wins the Money in the Bank. We get Goldberg and we get Lashley at SummerSlam, which a lot of people will say, oh, why? But then the sight that you see at the end is the New Day coming back together, kicking both the crap out of Goldberg, kicking both the crap out of Lashley, reigning supreme as Big E stands tall in SummerSlam as your new WWE champion.
I like it.
Let that actually sink in and think about whether or not you would love to see the New Day perceived as guys that own the WWE post-pandemic.
I like it. I really like that. I'm standing by my pick, however. I am going to go with Riddle. I think that we are going to see, again, like, I think that the Money in the Bank briefcase, I always try and look, and I say this full well knowing that WWE and professional wrestling as a whole tends not to be as long-term as it used to be, but Matt Riddle versus Randy Orton is a money match at some point in the future. And I think that Matt Riddle cashing in again, whether it's Bobby Lashley, who he's got the history with the U.S. Championship, whether it is Goldberg, which let's just talk about Riddle cashing in on Goldberg for a championship. Brief pause for effect. I think there's a lot to be done there.
Brock Lesnar.
Or Brock, any of them. Or after that happens, the turn of Rated RK Bro. And I think that's where you see the breakup. So
Rated?
Rated RK Bro, isn't that what they are?
Just
Oh, yeah, I guess
just RK Bro.
We're going to talk about Edge in a second. I'm getting a little confused with tag team matches. However,
I'll say you see way too
fair.
where we're going to be predicting.
Fair. Okay, that's a very fair point, Parrish. If you would like to, however, feel more than encouraged to go and grab us some beverages. I am going to run you fine individuals that are watching here on the P.O.S Show. Scoot. I wasn't going to say anything until you threw that in there. Now I'm going on the power trip. However, I'm going to run you fine, folks, before we get into Roman Reigns versus Edge, through what you can expect on Love Wrestling this coming week. Today, right now, you guys after this, you can tune into the Love Wrestling YouTube channel. Josh Robinson's brand new video of The Legacy of is out. We ain't revealing the guests because he's got more than one of them. That's all we're going to say on that end of things. And you guys can tune in the replay of the Goose Call right here on Love Wrestling. That took place from the last 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 slot that we had here Mountain Standard Time. He was tuned in with some of the folks from the Alberta Wrestling Academy. Tomorrow, we've got Inspired Cam Stevens and Tony Novak, two great individuals, one Albertan, at least when I saw them, and one Newfie, but Albertan when I saw him, chatting about who inspires them in pro wrestling. Power Out's back. Turnbuckle Rewind's back. We got the War Report between two beards this Wednesday, this Tuesday, this Thursday, blowing off stream on Saturday as usual. And then Sunday Brunch will return as scheduled this coming Sunday. It's going to be a great time. This is our main event. It's going to be a great time as well. Parrish, Roman Reigns versus Edge in a singles match.
Yeah.
Give me your prediction before you explain who or why, I guess, you chose your winner.
Wait, who did I predict for the ladder match again?
I believe you picked Big E.
Oh, I did, yeah. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I finalized that one, but yeah, no, I will go Big E in the ladder match. So I just want to finalize that. I'm going to go Roman Reigns with this one simply because I do see two people interfering in this match. Actually, sorry, I see one person interfering in the match and one person showing up after the match. I believe Seth Rollins will cost Edge his match tonight against Roman Reigns.
I agree.
But your lasting moment of Money in the Bank will be Roman Reigns facing off against John Cena.
Okay. I agree with all of that. I just don't think that Cena's going to come back for Money in the Bank. I think that Cena will be back this Friday on SmackDown. I think that it's pretty easy, though, for both of us to predict Roman Reigns, correct?
Yeah, I just have a feeling WWE will do what they believe are monster reactionary moments tonight, and then also give us more coming in. The one thing I think you gotta do tonight is you gotta make people talk about what you just saw. That's the beauty of running Sunday here.
Yeah.
We saw Impact last night do the same thing. We're talking about Jay White and Kenny Omega.
Oh, are we ever? Oh, my.
About Malachi Black on AEW. We're talking about these shows because they've
Close
had
out
these
strong.
moments. John freaking Cena going to face off against Roman Reigns to break the record and be sole owner of the most championship title reigns in pro wrestling.
Massive.
Money. Just, great.
That is
John Cena is on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, and if you can't understand that right now, you're living under a rock. And I don't mean the Rock. I just mean a Rock, because John Cena is one of, if not the greatest icons in pro wrestling, not named The Undertaker in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
One breath, by the way.
I won't disagree with you. I think from any reputable source out there, Cena versus Reigns is a lock for SummerSlam. When that begins, I believe it's going to be this Friday. I think Roman Reigns standing tall with no one left to challenge him will be your final shot. He's going to come out on
And remember, he's
Friday.
the only one in WWE that John Cena can see.
Yeah, I'm very excited. very, 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 very excited. And as you said in the chat, this card has the chance to be incredibly entertaining. And as you also said, can't wait for Reacts tonight. Yes, we're going to be right back here on Love Wrestling as close to the conclusion of Money in the Bank as humanely possible. So make sure that if you're on Twitch, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, Give us a like, a share, a follow, a Yelp review, a subscription if you're feeling so kind as to want to put some monetary investment, because it goes right back into the pockets of the contributors that you guys see not only on the screen, but individuals like Ed, individuals like Pluggo that you guys saw in the chat earlier, and the myriad of great people here that are part of Love Wrestling. Thank you guys once again for taking the time to tune in to P.O.S Show right here on Love Wrestling. Parish, where can people find you when the broadcast is done, outside, of course, of tonight's Reacts?
Yeah, you can find me on the Twitter at Chris Parrish, on the Instagram at Chris.Parrish, on the Twitch. That's not Love Wrestling CA, by the way. Of the Chris Parrish. You can also find me if you're in the Red Deer, Alberta area next week. You can find me main eventing in a triple threat match against Two Dawkins and Xavier, God's gift to whatever he wants to say now, to Michael Richard Blades, who I will say is one of the best performers ever in Alberta history. Going after the number one contendership for the EEW National Championship.
It's going to be a good time. Professional wrestling is back nearly in full force here in Alberta. We've got our live streams back here at the home of Edmonton Professional Wrestling, Beercade YEG. Things are starting to get a little bit back to normal, friends, and that is a great thing. The one thing that continued to stay consistent for the most part is that professional wrestling stayed excellent throughout the pandemic. And now that fans are back, this being the first real pay-per-view of a consistent fan return on WWE's end, you can expect them to pull out all the stops for Money in the Bank. I'm incredibly excited. Here's to hoping that I go home at the end of the evening with my Here Love Wrestling Elite Championship.
Give me your belt.
Come on, man. I'm closing the show out. You can't pop me when I'm doing that. Thank you, though, once again for tuning in, especially when we're getting close to a pay-per-view. As Parrish and I mentioned, we want to make sure we've got the analytics, the statistics, everything behind it so that we can bring you the most accurate and up-to-date pay-per-view preview that we possibly can. And we like to think one of the more entertaining ones out there. So the social media that you can find ourselves at, as well as we mentioned, the great contributors we've got here on Love Wrestling. Scrolling across the bottom, wherever podcasts are played or videos are viewed, you can find us at Love Wrestling CA. And if you want everything in one fell swoop, head to lovewrestling.ca for previews, reviews, breaking news, and interviews from the wide world of professional wrestling. If you guys are tuned in on Twitch, we are going to go and hang out with Impact Professional Wrestling. They're showing some classic matches, and the fact that they put on a terrific pay-per-view last night should be rewarded with continued viewership, as we hope you continue to do for our excellent little show, our excellent little corner that we've got here on Love Wrestling. Lawrence, a lot of love to you, my friend. Enjoy the card yourself as well. And Cody, same to you. Lots of fun on our end to have you in the chat, as well as the rest of you who tuned in to the P.O.S Show. If you guys are on Facebook, if you guys are on YouTube, you guys are going to hear our music here in a couple of seconds. Let's go hang out with some Impact Wrestling fans on Twitch. For Parrish, I'm Spencer. Thanks for tuning in, friends. We'll see you later.